Oh, well, my whole body aches. I'm really knocked out by this cold so much that I just didn't even make a video yesterday. I just had a lovely bath, chamomile tea bags and lavender oil, and then I fell asleep afterwards, which was my plan. And I feel a lot better for it, but I still feel pretty knocked out. And I'm sitting today in bed and just working my way through creativity courses again. Come to a really interesting point of realizing, whereas I've been feeling for the past week like, oh, I've been pulled up in my tracks, I can't make my progress, I can't do all the things I promise to do every day, and therefore I'm failing. And I can see where I've gotten to this point many times in the past. So initially there's a huge amount of energy, impetus and forward momentum, and I'm throwing everything at it. Don't really tend to do things by half, so I'm kind of realizing, and I demand an awful lot of myself. So whereas, you know, a sane person might have taken on one or two aspects of this challenge at once, I'm kind of throwing everything I've got at it and throwing everything I can find at myself and demanding it of myself. And now I think I've come to a point where I'm being forced to stop doing all the things so I can actually process some of what I've been discovering before I move on to the next level, and I can actually kind of retrospectively apply this to a lot of stages in my life where I feel like, oh, I've come to a halt. I quite often get a cold or some sort of physical problem will happen and literally stop me from doing. And then I tend to fall into despair, thinking, oh, I'm not making any progress. Or what someone on the creativity course suggested to me today is that this is the incubation period, reflection incubation. This is a vital part of the creative process, and one that I've been missing out on because I've been seeing the stop part as a failure and partially giving up on the project, or thinking that I'm not going to complete it, whereas actually it's part of the completion and I can't get to a satisfactory resolution without this incubation process. So I have to learn to re-educate myself away from thinking that it's failing or thinking that I'm not actually doing the work, when actually the work is going on, but it's going on internally. And I can absolutely say that over the past sort of couple of weeks, when I feel like this virus has been in my system, it's been slowing me down and even completely stopping me several times, that internally I'm having massive transformations, resolutions and understandings of some of the material that I've been taking on board and processing. Some of the days when I've not been well and I've had to rest, I've spent the whole days watching self-improvement videos on YouTube, or working my way through a manifesting course or a creativity module, and thinking and talking and recording myself and trying to formulate my plans for how I want to work with people in the future. So yeah, it's very precious, and if we were just doing all the time, then this stuff, which is actually the gold that we're trying to dig up, we would ignore it, and it would be thrown out on the spoil heap because we wouldn't have even seen it in our desire to just keep digging, as if the digging was the important part of the process and not the treasure that we're trying to dig up and get to. The digging is real good fun. It's in the modern world where doing is considered to be virtuous and not doing is considered to be kind of almost amoral. And we could have a very long discussion on where that psychology comes from in the history of sort of Western cultures. But it can be very difficult to stick with this space of not knowing, and to tell people that you didn't manage to do something, or that you decided not to because it seemed like a better idea. There's a huge amount of judgment about not doing, and a huge amount of judgment about sitting and contemplating. And yeah, I think we all feel in our vision of like the most creative and inventive people, that process of incubation and reflection, imagining and dreaming is very important. So why do we separate ourselves from these so-called geniuses who are allowed to go off and meditate and speculate and ruminate and incubate in order to dream up their new dreams? All of our dreams are important. All of our creativity is important, and we don't know where it's going to take us, and so we should never prejudge it, really. What the importance of those times is going to be, not just for ourselves, our personal lives, our relationships, our health, but potentially for the whole world, our community, our planet. Who knows where the ideas that you come up with when you're in this state, if you allowed yourself to pursue them and to really have fun, like pursuing them wherever they'll go, where they would take you. So anyway, yeah, I'm mired up in all that stuff today, but I feel like I've made a breakthrough in terms of allowing me to reach a sense of completion on things where maybe I've given up a stage too early in the past, and believing that I've run out of steam, whereas actually the steam is like operating on the inside instead. I hope I explained myself relatively clearly there. It's quite a long video for a fairly simple idea, but anyway, I'd be really interested to see what any of you guys think about all of that, and if you allow yourself that space to ruminate, percolate and incubate a little bit more than I do.